Well, a lot of news to get to on this Monday. The Supreme Court blocking President Biden's promised student loan bailout on Friday. This was a huge decision from the court. The country's highest court ruling federal law does not allow the cancellation of more than $430 billion in student loan debt. President Biden asked Friday if he was asked if he gave false hope to those borrowers. Listen to his response.
I didn't give any false hope. The question was whether or not I would do even more than was requested. What I did, I thought was appropriate and was able to be done and would get done. I didn't give borrowers false hope, but the Republicans snatched away the hope that they were given, and it's real hope.
But you know what, Joe Pinion, here's the question mark. Did he give false hope to 43 million Americans who were sitting on $1.6 trillion in student loan debt? There is a lot of confusion right now, and a lot of people are very upset. Joe Biden seems to be the fall guy for this. He said you were going to get your loans paid back.
Well, let's be very clear about what exactly happened. They had to try to do the best they could in one of what should have been the bloodiest midterms in modern history. And so, yes, he went on his Santa Claus tour. He tried to promise everything to everybody and promised it would be for free. And so all of a sudden you had janitors and the children of janitors who found themselves on the hook for billions of dollars of college loans for people who got to go to law school and then also reap the benefits of those actual educational advancements. So, yes, he did give false hope. America is not a country that is supposed to be giving promises to some and not to others. And now they're reaping the benefits. And, of course, with all things, they're trying to pass the buck, be it to the Supreme Court or be it to the Republicans, because, again, those MAGA extremists, they are the real ones who are trying to destroy America.
Well, and look, you know, I mean, now he's saying that he's going to use the Higher Education Act of 1956. He says that that's how he's going to push again for loan forgiveness. But lawyers and analysts alike say that is going to be a long, hard court battle, various legal challenges. It's going to take forever. And basically, get ready, because if you do have student loan debt, October, you're going to have to start paying again.
Sure. I mean, look, money isn't free. I think we know that. And to send that message to anyone that they could borrow money and not have to pay it back is certainly not the right message. And circumventing the Supreme Court, too. I mean, these are the laws of the land. That is the Supreme Court. That's why we have that third branch of government. And I think that needs to be respected in general.
Yeah, well, and also, too, I mean, you've got calls from the left, and I'm going to talk about AOC here because, of course, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's very emotional. She's very angry about all the decisions of the court from last week. Here's what she's proposing. She said, and she said this on the Sunday shows, subpoenas and impeachment. She now wants to limit the Supreme Court's power after the multiple landmark decisions. And obviously, that is, Joe, let's talk about this, the affirmative action and the changes. And now race cannot be a part of college admissions.
Well, look, it is reckless. It is disturbing, and it is dangerous for lawmakers to be running around the countryside trying to suggest that the Supreme Court, the guardrails for this nation, is illegitimate. If you were somebody who thought that it was beyond the pale to be saying that we should be questioning the integrity and veracity of our elections, then how in the world do we have the Senate Majority Leader trying to say this is a MAGA extremist court, right? It seems to me that we have reached a new point now where when the Supreme Court does something that you like, then somehow it is a great court. When the Supreme Court does something you disagree with, it is an illegitimate court. And so in the same week that we saw the Supreme Court shut down the legal theory about drawing congressional lines in North Carolina, refused to hear the case from Louisiana about how they were going to draw lines down there, that same Supreme Court says, hey, guess what? There has to be a way for the biggest and most accredited universities in the country to find merit in the stories of black people besides just the color of their skin. And somehow the left has lost their mind and said the silent part out loud, that somehow they can't understand why it is concretely that black people are finding outrage over the fact that simply we want to be known for the context of our character and the actual integrity and the actual educational ability that we have.
On the merits of who you are. Yeah, as individuals. I want to bring in Congressman Anthony D'Esposito. He's a member of the Homeland Security Administration and Transportation and Infrastructure Committees. Congressman, I'm not sure how much of our discussion you've heard, but we're talking about the landmark decisions coming from the Supreme Court last week. Your reaction?
Yeah, listen, I mean, when it comes to the student debt, you know, it was a decision that was the right one. We all agree that Joe Biden did a tour. I think my friend Joe Pinion eloquently referenced it as a Santa Claus tour when he went out there and wanted to distribute funds to everyone. He's called it canceling debt. In fact, it was $20,000 for those making less than $125 or $250 for married couples. It would have cost this country $315 billion with a B. And now Joe Biden is trying to pass it through as part of an order, which is going to be in violation of our Fiscal Responsibility Act. So I think we're going to keep holding the line. We're going to make sure that we're cutting spending, and we're going to do what we told the people that sent us to Congress to do.
You know, I also want to ask you really quick before we run about the travel chaos over the weekend, flight delays, cancellations. The airports have been a mess. You've got the transportation secretary. He's passing the buck after the airlines blamed the FAA. Listen to what he said.
If you look at the overall picture, we've seen a lot of improvements, but we had a hard few days with severe weather at the beginning of the week, and that definitely put enormous pressure on the system.
Congressman, he didn't mention the labor shortage at the air traffic controller towers, and they're happening across this country. I think he's down, what, 1,500 people right now, and it's showing.
Yeah, you know, it's a common theme of people in Joe Biden's cabinet where they deflect and try to blame it on others. We see it with Secretary Mayorkas. We see it with Secretary Buttigieg. And the fact of the matter is it's just failed leadership and not having the ability to be a proven leader. And when you send somebody into a cabinet position where they are not prepared for, this is exactly what we're dealing with.
Congressman Anthony D'Esposito, thank you for joining us this morning. Come back soon.